Let me start with the merge, as it's called. It's this switch from proof of work to proof of stake, and I guess I thought it would drive the price of Ether up, but it doesn't seem to be happening. Is it really affecting Bitcoin?
I think it's definitely having an all-around effect on crypto markets. I mean, it's such a major change, especially for the second largest token in the crypto market itself. And so therefore, any slight thing that could go wrong with that upgrade, any delays that could happen, that'll knock sentiment across the board. And so, yes, Matt, you're right. Bitcoin is quite tied to the S&P 500, for example, and, the strength of the dollar. It is also going to get that kind of wind from other things happening in crypto as well. It's still a cryptocurrency after all.
Okay, so how do you work out what's driving crypto at this point then, Emily? If you've got the merge going on, you've also got the dollar moves, and you've got other momentum in risk assets, ongoing hawkishness from the Fed, what's in the driving seat?
If we listen to analysts, and we often do at Bloomberg, obviously, they are mainly pointing to the merge as one of the biggest drivers at the minute. But there's also, the ongoing macroeconomic environment. So as you noted, we have the CPI data coming this week. That's definitely hurting Bitcoin more than it might do usually. It had a really big rally at the end of last week, but today it's kind of cooled off a little bit, still in the green, but it's definitely not the 10% spike we saw on Friday. And if you look elsewhere, if we think about how the merge plays into all of this, even Ether, for example, Bitcoin's up today, but Ether is largely flat. And that's because a lot of people are waiting to see what will happen with the merge. The key date to watch is September 15th. That's on Thursday. That's kind of been pointed to as a time when the merge might start seeming a little bit more cemented and confirmed. And so because of that, Ether's spot buying relative to Bitcoin has been relatively low in the last few weeks.
Well, you walked us through the details of the merge. Walk us through the details of anything else you might be watching within the Ether space.
Yeah, so as I mentioned, we're definitely watching how Ether is performing in spot markets compared to in the futures market. So, for example, if we look at data that we see from Kaiko, which is a blockchain analytics firm, they pointed to the fact that relative to Bitcoin, weekly spot buying for Ether was at its lowest point in over a year last week. Whereas, interest in open futures, that has all been spiking a lot in the last few months. And that's because people are waiting and seeing, they're wanting to know what might happen to Ether in the last few weeks. We've also got the issue of, people have been locking their Ether up in staked positions, waiting for this merge to complete. And as those positions start to unwind when the upgrade process goes through, that'll cause some changes as well.